Hi everybody, this is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. Today we're talking about vinegar in relation to food sensitivities. Two things in particular. One is gluten and the other is sulfites. Back to gluten. Most vinegars do not contain gluten. Some of them are made with grains, like white vinegar is made with a grain, but it's distilled. If a vinegar has been distilled, completely distilled, and there was gluten in there to begin with, there is not going to be gluten in the distilled vinegar. Now I mean 100% distilled. For instance, white vinegar, the stuff that we clean with a lot of times, and we can use it in foods. A lot of times I'll buy it in the big gallon jugs, and it is made with gluten-containing grains, often wheat, but it's distilled. All of it is distilled. So the distillation process is where they heat up a liquid and then they collect the vapor from it. Well, the gluten does not vaporize. It remains down in the mash, the solid part that remains, and so it is not included in the distilled process. One vinegar that I can think of in particular that if you're gluten sensitive that you need to be careful with and probably avoid is malt vinegar. That is made from gluten containing grains. It's usually not distilled. Therefore, if you're sensitive to gluten, you need to be very careful about ingesting malt vinegar because chances are it has gluten in it. If you read the label carefully and it has been 100% distilled, then chances are you're fine. You could consume that. So be very careful if you're sensitive to gluten-containing products in any way, shape, or form. And know that most vinegars do not have gluten in them. It's important to read the labels. And if it is a gluten-containing grain that it was made from, if it's been all distilled, you're okay. If it has not been distilled, it still has the gluten in there and you need to avoid it. Now, regarding the sulfites, most fermented foods, which vinegar is, will contain naturally occurring sulfites. But it's my understanding that naturally occurring sulfites affect the body differently than the sulfites that food manufacturers add as a food preservative. So understand that there is a difference and our body should react to them differently. And so you do need to read the labels on vinegars because some of them have added sulfites to them where others do not. Chances are, if you have a problem with sulfites and you consume vinegar that does not have the added sulfites in there, you should be okay. If in doubt, check with your doctor. Don't rely on what I have to say on this because your body may react in a different way than what I can anticipate. But know that a lot of times, to caution people who are sensitive to sulfites, a lot of vinegar labels will say this contains sulfites. But if you look in the ingredient list, it doesn't say that they're added. So those would be naturally occurring sulfites. So if you don't react to the naturally occurring sulfites, those vinegars should be okay for you. A case in point here, my husband actually has a problem with sulfites. He reacts to them quite a bit. Yet we eat oil and vinegar in salads every single day. And he does not have a problem with them because I'm choosing vinegars that do not have added sulfites to them. So be aware that there is a difference and they may affect you differently according to what's naturally occurring and what's been added to them. If you have any questions or comments, let me know below. If I can help you, I certainly will. This is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. Bye for now.